Good morning or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's webinar. This webinar is entitled Building Your Global Network Through BNI Connect. Tonight's webinar is a live presentation, and we are fortunate to have with us Dr. Ivan Misner presenting tonight. Tonight's webinar, a couple of housekeeping things. Tonight's webinar is being recorded, so it will be made available online on our YouTube channel. So you can find this probably in a day or so on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. This is where we host all of our webinars. It is a channel that you can subscribe to and be alerted to new uploads as they happen. youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. It is a live webinar, so if you have questions as we're going through the webinar today, please do feel free to ask those questions. The easiest way is to use the questions control panel. You'll be able to type in your questions and ask those as we're going along. If you are at a computer that has a microphone or you're dialed in via telephone, you can also choose to raise your hand with the software or type a message in saying that you'd like to speak your question, and we would be happy to open your microphone. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is to introduce Dr. Ivan Misner, the founder of BNI, and we are going to go into tonight's presentation, Building Your Global Network with BNI Connect.
Thanks, Jeremy. It's a pleasure doing this podcast, this webinar with you. I appreciate all of your efforts. The training that you guys have developed has really made a difference. And I don't know if everyone knows this, but most of these webinars are recorded and they are available at BNI Connect under the question mark up on the top right-hand side. You can listen to this webinar in the future and many, many, many other webinars. He's pulling it up on the screen right now. So building your global network, there's a lot that we could talk about, and I intend to do future webinars on this topic. But before we can run, we got to walk. And so there are a few things that I want to talk about that are basics. That without this, anything else isn't going to work. And it begins with the completion of your profile, which actually I'll get to in a moment. There's one other thing that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the BNI Connect project in general. The BNI Connect project is three separate and distinct projects. First is the database management. It's managing all of the names, all of the information that chapters need to run successfully. It manages the training that's being done, the referrals that are being generated, although that hasn't been switched on in all regions. It will be. And so there's a lot of core to the business kinds of things. That's one. Two, websites. We had a horrible problem with branding for many years, and our attorneys told us that we were on the verge of losing our trademark because 6,000 chapters, they have 6,000 different visual looks, and that's the way a company loses its trademark. So one of the things we did was we created websites into this so that when all countries, all areas are on it, there'll be 6,300 websites with the chapters all perfectly brand compliant to protect our trademark. That's the second. And the third is the social media side. And that's sort of the vision making. We've integrated technology into our face-to-face program. BNI does not plan on being LinkedIn. We're not competing with LinkedIn. We are a face-to-face network. We're doing BNI Connect as a way of integrating technology into our program so that our members can communicate with each other worldwide. For the first time in the history of the company, now over 28 years, working on our 29th year, for the first time ever, members can communicate with each other worldwide. Technology like BNI Connect flattens the communication hierarchy. If you want to build a global network, it's got to start with your profile. Your profile is so important in order to build a global network. Can you imagine taking a half-page ad out in a magazine and not putting any information in it, just leave it blank, or just put your name and your telephone number? Almost no one would do that. But yet That's exactly what happens on Connect with many people. So to build your global network, you have to first complete your profile. Jeremy's going to show you specifically how to do that in a minute. Let me tell you why it's so important. I'll share a story with you. You can find a lot of stories about BNI Connect at SuccessNet. The URL is bnisuccessnet.com, even though you see successnet.cz marketing. If you type in BNI SuccessNet like he's doing right now, it forwards to that. So just remember bnisuccessnet.com. And if you see on the left, under blog roll and then categories, My BNI Story. And on My BNI Story, we post a lot of stories from members. And the one that I'm going to describe now, and that Jeremy will show in a minute, is one from somebody in the state of Washington. Here's how to build your global network. State of Washington. His best client needed a photographer, but the photographer they needed was in New York. They needed a photographer in New York. They said, hey, we know you're part of a network. Can you, because he talked about it all the time, do you know any photographers in New York? He said, I don't, but I can get you a good photographer. Give me just 24 hours or so. And then he got on BNI Connect. He checked all the photographers. Half of all the photographers in the New York area did not have anything on their profile other than name, telephone number, maybe an address, nothing else. He threw them out completely. They never had a shot. The other half of them, 1/4 overall, half of them didn't have a photograph. All right, so we're talking about a photographer not having their photograph up on their profile. He said, look, if they don't even have their photograph, then I'm not going to recommend them to my best client. So he threw them out. That left about 1/4 of the photographers in the area. He looked over those profiles carefully to find one that had commercial experience and had, he thought the kind of experience that could handle his client. He contacted her, spoke to her, and he gave her the referral. The referral was for Microsoft Corporate. Yep, his client was Microsoft. And you can see in this story that we just pulled up, this is one of the things under My BNI Story. This is the story about the member who got a referral for Microsoft Corporate. So this is a powerful story. Let me tell you, she would have never got this business. And this came from all the way across the country. I know we have people on here who are outside the United States. One side of the country is like, in the U.S. is like the eastern part of Europe versus the western border of Europe. I mean, it's very far apart. And she got this referral from somebody in a completely different state, thousands of miles away. So you got to start with a complete profile. That's absolutely critical to begin the process of building a powerful global network. So with that, let me turn it over to you, Jeremy, to talk about how they can, in fact, complete their profile. And then we're going to cover more things. This is only the beginning. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dr. Misner. I'd like to tell a quick story as well. I was sitting in my office. For many of you that may not know me, I am also a member. I've been a member of the BNI Wakefield chapter in Rhode Island for about 12 years now. And I was sitting in my office working on BNI Connect, and a client walked into my office and said, hey, I need a referral. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, wow, how cool is that? I'm just sitting in my office, and a client walks in and asks for a referral. And they said, I have an in-house bookkeeper, but, they need to do some advanced things in QuickBooks. Do you know anybody that could help? And, the light bulbs are going off in my head. And I said, oh, absolutely. I have somebody in my chapter that I can refer that business to. So I'm thinking, I really want to use BNI Connect to pass this referral. So what I did was, and I'm going to use our test site right now because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, but I went to our regional website and I went to find a member, and I typed the member's name in and I clicked find, and I went to their profile. And what I really want to do is hit the print button and just print this out to give them more than a business card. But after looking at it, I kind of had to switch gears because there's not a whole lot of information on here. This is an empty profile. It had a little bit of a phone number, a name, a chapter name, but that's about it. There was no visibility, credibility, nothing here that I could really give them as a benefit to finding the profile here. Now, take in comparison, if somebody had gone to my regional website and looked up my profile. So I'm just going to do find a member, and I'm going to put myself in here. So let's say somebody was looking for me on BNI Connect. On the public website, keep in mind this is the regional website, so anybody in the world can go to this site and pull up these profiles. People that are Google searching, people that are maybe ex-members, maybe people that have left the chapter that still want to pass business to BNI members, people from across the country that are looking for a BNI member to pass a referral to. This is an open site for them to do so. This is a more complete profile. It has my picture, it has my logo, it has my name, it has my company address, it has my social networking links on there. People can jump right to Facebook, right to LinkedIn. They can look up more information about me. They can read about my business. They can see my ideal referral. All of the things that help to build that credibility right off the bat when you're looking at establishing a relationship with somebody, receiving a referral or passing a referral. This is the public side of the member profile. So you might ask, what is the way that we can fill this out? How do we do that? Well, the first way to do that is you do need to log into BNI Connect. And if you don't have your username and password, please talk to the director consultant of your chapter or your executive director for your region, and they can help you with that. But once you get your name and password, log into BNI Connect. Now, once you log in, what you need to do is in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you will see a My Account button. And the My Account button is really where you're going to control all of the aspects of your profile. So click on that. Once you click on the My Account button, you'll see that there's a number of tabs. And all of the things that are visible to you, you will find in these tabs. Now, the first tab here is the main profile, and this is your name, your company name. For those of you that are joining us from the United States, you'll see this field here that says VAT reference number. VAT stands for Value Added Tax. It's kind of like a tax ID that they use in European countries. For those of us in the United States, you don't have to worry about that. You can leave that blank, but we do have that in there for our members of countries that do need to record that on their profile. You'll see your industry, your classification, and your chapter and your membership status. Now that's controlled by your regional office. So if you do see an issue with that, maybe your classification isn't correct, please do talk to your director consultant or talk to your regional office, your executive director, and they'll be able to help you change that. Now the first things you want to really take a few minutes to look at is the My Business and the keywords. Now the My Business is, I look at it as your elevator pitch. So think about open networking at your chapter, and a visitor comes to your chapter and you need to tell them very quickly and succinctly in 30 seconds or less what it is that your business does. What is your specialty? What is it that you do? Or let's say that you're at a networking event at a chamber or some other networking event. This is your talk that you would tell them in 30 seconds or less of things about your business. So take a few minutes, compose that, and make sure that you get a good My Business description. Now this is one of the most important pieces because you'll notice that this shows up on the public site as well as on the internal site of BNI Connect. So that's what's showing up here in the My Business section in this gray area on the screen. Now the second thing that's on the screen here is the keywords, and keywords are the second most important thing that you need to put on here because that is how people find you when they don't know your name. So people may be saying, like the photographer in Seattle that was looking for, or person in Seattle that was looking for a photographer in New York, they don't know the person's name that they're looking for. So they're doing searches by keywords. They're going to look for photographers. Now, when you're looking for keywords, only the people that have put in their keywords are going to be the people that are being found when they're searching. So take some time to put your keywords in. One recommendation I have is to talk to the search engine optimization person in your chapter or the web designer in your chapter and get some ideas for what good keywords would be to help you get found on the web and in BNI Connect for the things that you do. One other quick suggestion is this is a specific search. So let's say that you're an accountant. You may want to put in accountant and accounting so that you're found on both search terms. So you notice here I have computer. I want to put computer. I want to put repair. I want to put support. I want to put all the things related to computers that I think that people would search for me for. Now the second tab on here is really all the things that have to do with your user profile, so your login credentials. You can change your username at any time. I highly recommend not using an email address. Email addresses change way too frequently. So use something that you'll remember, and you can change that at any time, as well as change your password. The memorable question and answer, that's the challenge question. If you forget your password, you need to get it reset. BNI Connect is written, or it's translated into about 40 different languages right now. So you can view the site. All of the things on the pages will be translated into these different languages. Notice also that there are about 10 different versions of English. So if you see the dates are looking a little funky, the month is first instead of the year, or the day, and it's because you may have the wrong English. So make sure you're choosing the right English if you are an English-speaking member. You can also update your profile image and your company logo. You do want to choose something professional. Now to change the image is very easy. All you need to do is click on Change Company Logo or Change Profile Image. Click on the little magnifying glass and that'll take you, it'll browse your computer for another picture. So just do a quick search through your computer. I'm going to go to my folder that has all of my logos in it. I'm going to pick a new logo, and I'm going to upload the new logo to my page. You can choose to crop this image if you'd like to, and then click Save. And this will be the new logo that everybody sees on my profile. Now the next tab has all of your contact information, your phone number, direct number, home number, mobile number, pager, voicemail, toll-free, fax, all of the different numbers that you might want to put onto your profile, your email address. Now it's important to put a valid email address because this is the email address that all of your communications will come to through BNI Connect. When your regional office needs to contact you about an upcoming event, this is where the email is going to go to. Your renewal reminders, your speaker reminders, when you register for an event in BNI Connect, this is the email address that it will all go to. So do make sure it is a valid address. Your website, your social media links, there's about a dozen different types of social media links that you can put in here. Now the address details, you'll notice that there's two addresses on here. The first one is the address that is going to appear on the regional website, as well as your profile on the inside of BNI Connect. So for people that may work out of their houses, what I highly recommend is to do something like put by appointment only into their address line 1, or maybe they want to put in private. That way you can keep your address private but still display the rest of your contact details, such as your phone number and your website address and things like that. The billing address that's down below will always be kept private. It will not appear on the public websites. That is something that the regional office may use to send you communications, but it will not be put out there in the public. Now, I'm going to skip over the next tab for now, but let's look at the Bio tab. And the Bio tab is a pretty important one to spend some time on. And this is all about you. When we talk about VCP in BNI Connect, visibility, credibility, and profitability, this is the credibility page of BNI Connect. Now, it's shown in a couple of different places. You'll notice that on the regional website, so this is the page the public has access to. There's one section here. Now, the section that's showing up here is called the Tops profile. But when people find you on the inside of BNI Connect, now let me show you what an inside profile looks like. We can do that by scrolling down to the bottom and clicking on the profile link. I'm going to open this in the new tab so that we don't lose our place. But people that find you in BNI Connect, they will see your Bio tab. Now, you'll notice that they'll see your 60-second presentations, they'll see your gains profile and your tops profile. So when these things are up there, it is a great credibility booster. Take the time to fill out the bio. The bio is the same bio that your secretary-treasurer passes you before you do a presentation in your chapter. Your years in business, previous types of jobs, the hobbies and interests, the key to success, something no one knows about me. It's the same form that we fill out. Now you just need to fill it out once. Set it and forget it. Get it in BNI Connect and get it up there so that you don't have to worry about it the day before your next presentation. Now, you can put 2 commercials up there as well. Why do you think it would be good to put commercials up in BNI Connect? Well, one reason that I think is important is that because it's visible on your BNI Connect profile, there are 150,000 members now in BNI. I can pretty much guarantee you that 149,927 of them will never hear you speak your 60-second presentation at your meeting. This is a way to get some added visibility. Put your commercials in there, let other people read them when they look at your profile, and they might be able to learn more about your business and possibly even pass you business. The third thing on here is the gains profile. Think back to your member success program, goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. We're taught in our member success program that we should be doing a gains exchange before we sit down to a one-to-one. It's a great way to learn more about the person that you're meeting with. You can do that online in BNI Connect now. Set it and forget it. Get it in your profile. People can then view your profile before they meet with you, and you can do a gains exchange. You can also pull a report that you can send over to them, maybe if they haven't logged into BNI Connect, or to view the other person's profile before you have that one-to-one. And finally, we have the TOPS profile. And the TOPS profile is the ideal referral, top product, top problem solved, favorite BNI story, and ideal referral partner. And again, this one you may want to do first simply because this is the one that appears here on your public profile on the regional websites. Dr. Misner, did you want to add any comments about any of the profile information?
No, but this is a very thorough explanation of what you need and why it's important. For those of you who aren't familiar with gains, which has been around now a long time in BNI, I first wrote about it in a book called Business by Referral. Business by Referral, and you can see a lot of detail, but you can get that information directly from your local BNI director as well. That's all I have, Jim.
So now that you've filled out your profile and you're putting your best foot forward, what you probably want to do is to start to build that global network. And the way you do that is by connecting with people. And the way you connect with people in BNI Connect is to search for them. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this in BNI Connect. The first way, you probably want to go to if you click on your home screen, you'll notice that there's the My Network tab here. Now this is all of the social media functions in BNI Connect, so the connections, the groups, the shared documents, testimonials, events, and unread messages. What we're looking at here first is the connections, and this is kind of your address book in BNI Connect. If you would like to connect with somebody in BNI Connect, what you can do is you can click on the Add button here under the My Network tile, the connections. You could also, if you'd like to, click on this magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner. They will both take you to the same place. Now, the way that we connect with people in BNI Connect is to search for them. So I'm just going to take somebody here that is on our list of people in the webinars, and I'm going to look for, let's see, we have a Lisa Bean here on the webinar with us today. So if I would like to connect with Lisa, what I would do is I'd put her name in, and I'd click Search. Now, assuming that Lisa is here in the United States, and it looks like she is, I would find her profile. Now, if I'd like to know a little bit more about Lisa, what I do is click on her name. Now, if you are searching and doing a category search and you find a whole list of people, what you may want to do is right-click and choose Open in New Tab or Open in New Window, so you don't lose your original search results. So here's some information about Lisa. I can see that she's in the United States. She's in the Ohio-Cincinnati region. She's from the Network Professionals chapter. She's in the Health and Wellness. Being Natural is her company. Now, if I'd like to connect with Lisa, what I would do is click on add Lisa to my connections. And what this would do is it would send her a message saying, hey, I'd like to connect with you. So what I could do is I can also customize this message to make it a little bit more personal. So I could say something like, thanks for being on the webinar today. And I would like to add you to my connections. And this would send a message to Lisa saying, hey, Jeremy wants to connect with you. Would you like to accept that connection? Now, you don't necessarily need to know the person's name in order to make a connection with them. You can search by categories as well. So let's say I'd like to connect with other computer people in the UK. I can do that by putting in the keyword. So let's say I'd like to connect with computer people. I'd type in the keyword computer, and let's say I'd like to connect with those types of people in the United Kingdom. I would type in computer, select that from the list, and click Search Members. And this would bring up all of the people that either have computer in their name or have put computer into their keywords. And here's the key. This is pulling up a list of 170 entries. Now, I'm pretty sure there are more than 170 people in the UK that have something to do with computers, but these are the only people that have put computer into their keywords. So take a lesson from this. If you'd like to be found easier in BNI Connect, put your keywords in. Now, coming up a little bit later in this year, we're looking at about the June timeframe. The next update to BNI Connect, we're going to be implementing a more Google-style search where it's searching a more simplified search against multiple fields as opposed to single searches here. But until that time, please do keep in mind that the keywords are very specific and to enter those into your profile. Once you start connecting with people, you do want to manage those connections. And you can do that, again, by going back to your home screen. And you can click on the Manage button under Connections. Or you can click on Network and go to Connections. And this will bring you into the Connections interface. And this is kind of your address book for BNI Connect. So I'll see I have 291 connections here. I'll see all of those connections listed on the left. I'll also see them all listed on the right with pictures. So I can browse through them if I'd like to. I can search against them if I'm looking for somebody specific. Now I can click on people. Let's say Jerry Wilson here. And I can see a little bit more information about his profile. So I can see where he's from. If I'd like to send him a quick email, I have his email address there, website information. Anybody that uses Outlook or any other type of email program, this is very similar to the contact database within those programs. I can also send him an internal message. BNI Connect has an internal messaging system that stays within BNI Connect that you can send messages back and forth with other members. I can ask him for a testimonial. I can give him a testimonial. I can go and I can view his complete profile, so all of the information about him, or I can remove him from my connections. Now, when people send connection requests to you, you do need to accept them. It is an opt-in type of situation. And you'll find those in your My Connections under the Received Requests down here at the bottom. And as you receive these connections, you do need to make a choice as to whether to accept them, ignore them, or reject them. So as people send you connections, you can read the message that they sent along with it. So I can see that Linda sent a message saying, I'd like to add you to my connections. I can go ahead and accept that. Once you accept that one connection, you can go back and accept any other connections as well. Now, there's one other way that you can connect with other people, and that is by looking through the connections of the people that you're connected with. So looking at my connections here, I can see that I'm connected to these people, and let's say that I'd like to take a look at Bob Gear. He's a director in the Massachusetts area here in the Northeast region of the United States. Now, by clicking on his profile here, I can then click through to his full profile in BNI Connect. And I'm just waiting for your screen to catch up to mine here. So after looking at his profile, I can click on View Bob's Profile. Now this will take me to his full profile in BNI Connect. Now the great thing about the profiles in BNI Connect is I can see much more information about him, all of his roles and his business and his logo and his phone numbers, but I can also see his bio information, his 60-second presentations, his gains, his tops, but I can also see his connections. Now it's here that we can start to say, well, who does Bob know? I can see that Bob is connected to these people, and if I see somebody else that I know, such as Brian Woolman, I can take a look at Brian's profile, and I can see if I'd like to connect with him. If I'd like to add Brian to my connections, I can click on the Add Brian to my connections, but I can also look at Brian's connections and see if I notice anybody here that I'd like to connect with. And I can keep doing that through all of the people's connections. There is no limit, unlike LinkedIn where we can go 1 or 2 levels deep. We can go as many layers deep in BNI as we'd like to. So that's what I have on connections. Is there anything you'd like to add, Dr. Misner?
Nope. I think we're ready to jump into groups whenever you are.
Excellent.
So I'll start in talking about groups. I think the other way to build your global network is to be active in the groups, to engage in the conversation, and it's particularly relevant if you want to go visit other regions of BNI. I have seen members who have visited other regions in one part of the same country or in different countries, and members roll out the red carpet when somebody visits another chapter. The beauty of it, though, is that if you start the relationship before you show up, it can move along quicker when you actually go there. And so by being active in groups, you start a dialogue with people so that when you go to that other area, you're able to make a quicker connection. So group participation is really important. Now some people are saying, yeah, but I don't do business in other areas. That's fine. The groups enable you to also share ideas, best practices, resources, information. There are a lot of groups, travel agent groups, florist groups, florists around the world, photographers around the world, and they share knowledge and information. And that's another great way to connect with people, so that if you're visiting another area, even if you don't want to do business, to meet your fellow photographers, travel agents, florists, lawyers, whatever, and talk to them about what they're doing to help be successful in BNI is a great idea. There are many groups, over 2,000 groups now. You can create one. Jeremy will talk about that briefly. But there's several that I invite you to participate in. One is a group of mine called From the Founder. And Jeremy's going to pull that up here right now. It's From the Founder, and it's just things that are going on that I think members would like to know. And for example, the first one that's shown there is the Faux Pas series, Premature Solicitation. It's a video that is up on my blog, businessnetworking.com, and you can cut and paste that link and watch the videos. There's some really good stuff. The previous one to this was our 150,000th member. BNI just hit 150,000 members last Monday, and it was a gentleman in India who is our 150,000th member. So, but there's many up-to-date things. If you want to know what's going on in the organization, go join From the Founder. Also, I have one called Why BNI, which if you've got a great success story, we'd love to have you share. And another one is Jeremy's BNI Connect webinars. I recommend you take a look at that. You can see here there's over 2,000 groups. But Jeremy's BNI Connect webinars, if you want to stay on top of what's going on in the webinars, that's a great one. And you see there's chapter growth coordinators that was below that. So these are, look at all the comments. My goodness, Jeremy, 83 comments. Wow. So this is a great way to stay engaged in the conversation. I think that's it on my groups. Oh, no, it isn't. There is one other thing. We've come up with the phrase local business global network. And we've done that because BNI now is a great example of being a local business through BNI Connect immediately having a global network of like-minded people who believe in the philosophy of givers gain. And the only way that can happen effectively is for you to be involved in those groups. So come visit me, visit Jeremy, start your own group, engage in the conversation. It will make your membership more successful. Over to you, Jeremy.
All right, I just want to take a couple of minutes here to show you how to get involved with the groups, how to find groups, and even how to create your own groups in BNI Connect. It's really quite simple. So going back to your home page, so I'm going to go back to the home page real quick, and clicking on the My Network, you'll see the Groups tile here. Now, you can either click in on Manage or you can click on Add. The other way to get in there is to click on Network and Groups, and the Network drop-down will be available from any page in BNI Connect. So I'm going to click on Network Groups, and what we'll see here is, once we get in, is all of the public groups. And as Dr. Misner said, there's 2,236 groups right now in BNI Connect, so there's a group on so many different topics. If you'd like to join a group, you can go through and just start looking at the groups. So they're listed right now by most recent. You can also do by the most active posts. You can go through page by page and go through all of the groups until you find one that you'd like. Now, if you find one that you'd like to join, which really means that you'd like to get notifications about them, you can do that by clicking on Join Group. Now, when you join the group, you will start receiving notifications about the activity in that group. Let me show you real quick how to set your notification preferences. That's done through the My Account button again. Now, Dr. Misner, I think you have some recommendations on how people should set their preferences for the email notifications.
Yeah, I do. You can see where Jeremy's at there, group post email notification. If you click on the one that Jeremy has, and I have as well, every time a new post is added, and by the way, that's only new posts for the groups you are a member of. So you're not going to get posts from all the groups. You just get the ones that you choose to be a member of. So I get a post every time, and I actually in my Outlook, I created a folder for all my group notifications. So it's not popping up all the time. It goes straight into that folder, and then once a day I go there and look to see what kind of messages there are. Let's say you don't want to mess with that. Then pick the second one, once per day, a daily digest. Either of those two are really good choices. And then the third one is once per week. I think that once a week is not enough. You probably aren't going to be able to engage as much, but that's better than the last. Don't email me. Don't email me is pretty much, look, I want to be part of a network, just don't talk to me. Don't tell me what's going on. Yeah, I don't recommend that one. But any one of the first three, depending on your lifestyle, is great. Thanks, Jeremy. And we have questions whenever you're ready to roll with the questions.
All right. Just a couple of things on groups. You do want to join the groups, and once you join the groups, you can participate in the group. So you can start putting comments onto the group. So you click into the group. You can pick a topic that you'd like to participate in. So let's say I have a great webinar idea. I can go in and post a comment onto this group. So I can read the various comments that are there, or I can go in and post a message and say, hey, please do a webinar on, and put my idea in there. And that way, all of the participants of that group will get notified. They'll be able to comment on it. Oh, that's a great idea. I'd love to see a webinar on that. That's a way to stay engaged with the groups that you're participating in. Now, the other great thing is that you can create groups yourself. So as a member, you can create up to 7 of your own groups. Now, to create a group, just click on Add Group here at the top. When I click on Add Group, I just have to do a couple of choices. So I need to give the group a name, obviously. So I'm just going to call this one Test and a bunch of numbers, because I'm going to delete this after when we're done. You have to choose an access type. So you can choose whether people that are browsing through the groups, if they can just view the topics, or if they can view and post on the topics even without being a member of the group. The next choice that you have to make is what type of group it is, whether it's an open group, meaning anybody can find it, anybody can jump in at any time and view or view and post, whether it's an invite-only group or a closed group, so only people that you invite as the moderator and owner of that group will be able to participate, or whether people, once they become a member of the group, can invite their friends as well. It's kind of a hybrid between the first two. Give the group a description, so a friendly description of what you're going to be talking about, what the topics are going to be, just a general idea of what the group is. Now the language, it's not going to translate all of the posts into the various languages. This is just to let people that are browsing the groups know what the primary language of conversation is going to be. And then you can finally invite your contacts. So all the people that you're connected to, you can go ahead and invite those people to this group as well by clicking on their names. Holding the control button will allow you to select multiple people. And if you'd like to select everybody, just hit Control A and it'll select everybody in your list. And once you click on Submit, it will create the group. And you can start posting and having that global conversation, inviting people, engaging people, and talking to people that you may not normally talk to. Expand that network and have those conversations.
If I could just jump in before you leave that page, you'll look at from the founder, I've got 998 participants. I would love to have 2 of you join and hit that 1,000 mark. I'm just saying.
Just 2 more. Can we see it happen? Can we see it happen today on the webinar?
That would be great. You ready to hit questions, or do you have some more, Jeremy?
I am ready to go to the questions.
Okay, so I've got a couple of questions, 2 or 3 actually, and so there's 4, I guess. So I will hit them one at a time. If you have a question, now's the time to put it under the questions tab that's on the menu, and we'll try and cover all of them in the time we have. The first one is from Alvaro. I see that you have member traffic lights. When can we expect to have that working, Jeremy?
Right now, we have available region traffic lights and chapter traffic lights directly through BNI Connect, and you can get to those traffic lights through the reporting feature. So at a chapter level, you can get to your traffic lights through reports and chapter, and you will see an option there at the bottom for traffic lights. So you can get to your chapter traffic lights. Now the member traffic lights, that's still something that's being developed. There are a lot of regions around the world, especially in Europe, that have been using the member level traffic lights for a long time. There are some regions in the United States, including my own, that are manually calculating our own. We do hope that they will be included in BNI Connect in an upcoming release, but I do not have any definite dates or plans that I can confirm to at this time.
Thank you. The next is from Rebecca. She says, I'm an interior designer, and houzz.com, HOUZZ.com is huge, and it's where you gather testimonials. Anyway, to add this to your profile, I see that there is no other under social media links, which is where I would intuitively put this. Is there any way for someone to add a social media that's not listed under the drop-down, Jeremy?
Right now there's not. There's only the ones that are listed here. However, we did just get Pinterest added just a few months ago. If you do have one that you would like to suggest, please send an email to support@bniconnect.com. That is support@bniconnect.com. We will gladly get that over to our business analysts to be included in discussions about upcoming enhancements and other upgrades that are happening. So
I've got 2 for you, Jeremy, and I'll send you an email just like you requested. I think other is a great idea, and maybe we want a couple. And the other one is eCademy. eCademy has changed names to Sun Tzu, so that needs to get changed.
Excellent.
Rebecca, I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry, what did you say, Jeremy?
I said excellent ideas. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is from Leslie Taylor. Can you share some reasons why people would want to connect, like florists or Mary Kay reps or RE/MAX realtors, with some stories of how this benefited them? Leslie, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Are you just saying what's the reason why they would want to do it, or are we talking about why would people like to connect with same kinds of professions? In other words, Mary Kay reps with Mary Kay reps. Maybe you can clarify that for me, and I'll get back to your question. Next one is what are traffic lights by Ellen? Ellen, traffic lights are a system on BNI Connect, and we have it all the way up to directors that tell you about, it's sort of a photographing time as to the health of your chapter. Yeah, chapters that are in the green are really strong. Chapters that are in the yellow are doing well. Chapters in the red, there are some problems. Chapters in the gray definitely have problems. It's not perfect. It doesn't tell you anything about the attitude of the chapter and the commitment of the members. It's just based on metrics that tend to show whether a chapter is doing well and going to continue to do well. It's a tool to gauge where you're at today compared to where you were in the past. Hopefully that answers your question. Would you add anything to that, Jim?
Not much. I have always looked at the traffic lights as an activity report, so really kind of how fast you're moving in your networking activity. So it's a great indicator of whether or not you're getting to your destination, which is success in BNI, very quickly or very slowly.
Okay. Stephen asks, when entering keywords, should you use city, local towns, etc., i.e. geographic terms?
Generally speaking, I would say because of the way the searches are, now you'll notice there's two different types of searches. So if I go to my regional website, and we've already migrated on the regional websites to more of, as I said before, I don't want to compare it to Google, but a Google style search where we can just put in a single search term. So I could do, something like Jeremy computer, and it will search across multiple fields in my profile and come up with the exact matches as well as best matches. So it's doing those searches across multiple fields. In the next version of BNI Connect, we'll be moving into that on the inside of BNI Connect as well. In the meantime, I would say that looking at the inside search in BNI Connect, where we go to the magnifying glass, there's already a delimiter here. There's a field for state and city. So from a keyword perspective, I don't want to say waste. I wouldn't use up the available space on putting in cities and towns and things like that. In the keywords, I would keep those strictly to the types of business things that you're looking to do.
Okay. Leslie explained her question to me, and let me read her explanation, and then I can take a cut of the answer. She says, why connect with people in other cities as connections that are in the same company or the same field to share referrals and create a group to share information versus connect, solicit other members? To me, it's not either or. Both are great things to do with Connect, but connecting with people in your same profession has value in two ways. One, it enables you to understand best practices around the world. What's a real estate agent doing in the state of Virginia compared to Nevada? Are there differences? Are there similarities? Are there techniques that they're using to help increase their referrals? It's a matter of knowledge networking, sharing resources and helping each other. Real estate in particular, real estate agents refer each other all the time. Wouldn't it be nice to have, you mentioned RE/MAX in your first variation of the question, wouldn't it be nice for a RE/MAX agent to refer another RE/MAX agent in another state who's also a member of BNI? That's a win-win. And so connecting with other realtors around the world, other attorneys, other forests around the world is just a brilliant way to put BNI Connect to work for you to help your BNI membership. You mentioned a story about forests referring to each other. I don't know that one. At least it's not coming to mind, Leslie. But thanks for the question. I hope that answers your question. Stephen asks, when entering keywords, we've done that one. Dubin, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. You can call me Yvonne from now on. I am the chapter webmaster. Do you provide a webinar for managing and updating the chapter's BNI website? Jeremy will answer that, but first I want to say thank you. Thank you for being on this. Thank you for helping your chapter with the website. Many times webmasters say, oh, gee, I can put together a website that's much easier. Yeah, that's true. Just remember, we have 6,300 groups. They all are on the same site, and we're talking about how many languages, Jeremy? 30, 40?
43 or 44 last time I counted.
43 or 44 languages, some of which go right to left, some go left to right. Yeah, I mean, this is an unbelievably complex system. So we appreciate webmasters who are working on it, and Jeremy will answer your question directly now.
Yes, we do have chapter webmaster webinars. It's kind of a 101 course for webmasters. We do have a couple of recorded versions up on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. You can also find them up here in our webinars section on support.bniconnect.com. You'll find there's one here in the March series, Maintaining Your Chapter Website. I'm still working on the May webinar series. I will have those posted within the next week or so. They'll be on all of your regional websites in the event calendar, as well as on support.bniconnect.com. You will see right on the home screen all of the upcoming webinars. So we have a couple more webinars this month, one on updating your profile, one on connections, groups, and testimonials coming up in the next couple of days, and then the May calendar will be posted very shortly.
So Jeremy, Dell asks a very similar question, where can I find past webinars? Would you just point out again where you went to get to all of that?
Yep. If you're in BNI Connect, all you need to do is click on the question mark button in BNI Connect. So once you've logged in, click on the question mark button. This will bring you to the global support site. Towards the bottom of the screen, you will see a training section. In there, there's a section for webinars. These are broken out by month. Now, you can also go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And on this particular site, we have all of our webinars that we have uploaded over the past year and a half or so. Quite hundreds of hours of content up here. All sorts of stuff. Updating your profile. These two webinars from today will be uploaded there. Here's another webinar from Dr. Misner from a couple of weeks ago. The last one that we did on online slips, they're all up here on the youtube.com/BNI Connect Global.
Great, thank you, Jeremy. Judith asks, is there an easy way to search for a group? I know the answer to that is yes. You want to show that?
Absolutely. So if we go into the groups, so we go to network groups, or if you go back to the home screen and click on the manage button on the groups tile, there is a magnifying glass. So let's say that I'd like to search for all the groups that Dr. Misner created. I could type in under Creator, Misner. I can click Search, and this will search across all the groups, and we can see the two groups that Dr. Misner created. Let's say I'm looking for a group on photographers. I could...
Well, hey, did you notice there, Jeremy? We're at 1,003.
Woohoo!
Hey,
we did it. So I could search for photos or photographers, and I can see that there's 60 groups that have photos somewhere in the keywords or the group descriptions. So that is where you would find that.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question is a long one. Let me see if I can summarize it. It's from Alexander, who is from Brazil. Welcome, Alexander. It's great to have you here. Brazil is one of our newer countries, and it's great to have you as part of BNI. You're part of a local group that's growing, and you are looking for better interaction. Your question is, what would be the best way to enter any information in BNI Connect from a language point of view? Because in Brazil, the language is Portuguese, although Alexander, your English is very good. How would members around the world see this? I do have a recommendation. I communicate with people all around the world who do not speak English. I use Google Translate. At some point, we will have Google Translate incorporated into BNI Connect. At this point, it's not. So what I do is exactly what Jeremy's showing you. I go to, I take the message that is sent to me or the message that's up on a posting, and I cut it and I paste it into Google Translate, and the latest version does the translation. It recognizes whatever language it is, and it does it, and I wouldn't even begin to try to pronounce that, but Jeremy has written in, thanks for being on the webinar today. And that's what I recommend you do. I also recommend that you, at the beginning of your message, say, the following message was translated from Google Translate, so that people know, say, you know, I am from Brazil. The following message was translated in English at Google Translate. People have been so kind to me on this because it enables me to communicate with them. And it's not perfect, and there are problems. But when people know that it came from Google Translate, I think you'll find that people will be very understanding when they're told that. That's my advice until we are able to incorporate this with a link in throughout. Okay? We're up at the top of the hour. There are just a few more questions. I want to try and hit them if at all possible. I want to thank everybody who's stayed on. We'll do these, and these will be the last ones. Alvaro says, where can we access webinars for new members? And I think, Jeremy, you showed where to get the webinars. You'll need a username and password, but once you join, you can get that from your director consultant. Can you give them a couple of webinars that you would recommend a new member start with, Jeremy?
Sure, absolutely. Really the best webinars to start with are going to be very similar to the webinar that we did tonight, is updating your member profile. So this is the very first one that I would start with, updating your member profile. We have one coming up in just a couple of days on April 29th, and that is the first step to doing this. So updating your member profile, start with that. The next one that I would probably go to is, assuming your country is using the online slips, is to go to the online slips, which is one of our basic functions in BNI is to pass referrals to one another, and this is the how to pass referrals to one another in BNI Connect. So I'd start with those two, move on to the social media ones, and then go from there. And again, we hold anywhere between 12 and 20 live webinars every single month, and we go through the topics. We try to do one very early in the morning and one very late at night as far as the United States goes, so that we can really cater to our global audience, so that people all around the world can participate in these webinars.
Great. We have one other question, not about BNI Connect. I'm happy to answer it. I'll answer it in just a moment. And then, Jeremy, if you have any closing comments, please feel free to give them. Ariel asks, I love the question, Ariel. Thank you. Where can I purchase Dr. Misner's book? Thank you very much. I have 17 books. Most of them are available at Amazon.com. If you are, you can also get them from most of the country BNI offices. So if you're in the U.S., BNI.com. If you're in other countries, whatever that country's domain is, most of them have the books, but they are available, most of them are available at Amazon.com. I appreciate you asking, and the reason I do these books are to help provide educational content, really for BNI. Most of these are written with BNI in mind, to help teach members how to do this more effectively. There's one other reason, real quick. If you go to Google, let's give it a try. I'm going to be risky try here, Jeremy. Go to Google and type in business networking and enter. And you'll see, okay, Wikipedia's version comes up #1. Now, those 3 up above are ads. They don't count. So Wikipedia's description #1, BNI's #2. Ironically, my blog is #3. I do the books for this. This is no SEO, no search engine optimization. Haven't done it in more than a decade. This is strictly my efforts in PR for BNI. And it works really well. I discovered that if you go to the media and ask to do an interview, they say take an ad out. But the media will interview any idiot with a book. And I have 17. So you get lots of interviews, and that's the way we've got the kind of name recognition that we have, because for many reasons the books have done that. So Ariel, thank you very much for asking the question. That's all of our questions today. Jeremy, any closing comment?
Again, I just want to remind everybody, again, thank you everybody for being here tonight. A good referral for me is if you found this content useful, please go back to your chapters. Executive directors, please go back to your regions and tell your members about these webinars. We would love to fill the webinars with people that we can get the knowledge out of our brains and into yours. Let them know about the webinars, again, through support.bniconnect.com. Also, your regional websites in the United States, on the event calendars, they can register for them right there. Again, the reminders, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. That is the place to go to look at the videos. Also, if you could, please give us a like on facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. And this is where we do webinar reminders and tips and tricks, and I'm going to try your little trick here, Dr. Misner. We're at 1,937 likes. I'd like to get us up to 2,000 if we could. I don't think it'll happen by the end of the call, though. So please do give us a like up there. We would love to communicate with you through all means necessary, and we would like to see you on a future webinar as well. So thank you, everybody, for your time tonight.
Yeah, and if I could just say one thing, thank you, Jeremy, and these webinars are, I believe, valuable. We're getting lots of feedback here, these messages to us from you, and I appreciate that. But Jeremy and I are singing to the choir. You're the people who took the time to come to this. The people who need to be here are the ones who don't take the time to do this kind of thing normally. So please go to your fellow members and say, hey, look, here's how I found that valuable. We should all be playing with the same playbook. We should all be doing the things necessary to be successful as a chapter. And so please invite your members to future webinars. Jeremy does an amazing job. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Misner, and happy connecting, everyone. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye.